Welcome to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. On this podcast, Laura
and Shelby, both board-certified nurse coaches, show you how to make as much money as you want in private practice as a nurse coach. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Successful Nurse Coach podcast. It is Shelby here today with my third iteration of this episode. I think I recorded 2 of these when I was pregnant with my last. And the reason I want to do one of these again is, one, I have coached many pregnant people since last year, since 2023. I'm pregnant again with my third right now. Today, I think we are either 21 weeks or really, really close. And I have a lot of clients that just found out that they were pregnant. And so I've been having this conversation a lot. And I don't think that I've ever taken this spin on this topic before, even though I've talked about it 100 times. Where to even begin? Okay, so babies, business. I coach a lot of women younger than me or my age, and they pursue their coaching practice. And a big reason they pursue their coaching practice is because they want to start a family and they don't want to go back to 12-hour shifts or working Monday through Friday. It's a really big motivator. And I deeply resonate with this because same. My children are one of the biggest reasons, one of the hugest reasons, maybe the reason that I was brave enough to start my practice to begin with several years ago. And it was all for the sake of maternity leave, to be honest with you. I couldn't imagine going back to work after 6 weeks before kids. Like, that seemed unreasonable to me. And then now having children of my own, it's outrageous. I remember after having my first, I was crying. I was crying at the 6-week mark for all of the mothers I have known who are nurses who came to work after that and like put on a brave face, and understanding a fraction of what they must have been going through broke my heart 1,000 times over. And I guess I want to be speaking to those. This is like an ideal client within a niche, within a niche, within a niche. So if you are younger, babies are in your future somewhere, you want to know how to pull this off, you want to know how to be successful while also being a mom, while also navigating, the 4th trimester, postpartum life, and just the whole mental, spiritual, emotional journey that comes along with it. I want to give some pretty specific details related to nurse coaches, some trends that I've seen over the years, and also put a deeper twist on it too. So if you're not pregnant, I guess I'm sorry, you get to hang in here with me, but maybe if you support creatives or pregnant people, this will be helpful for you as well. And I hope that the takeaway after all of this is that, like, you can do it. You don't have to choose. You can be in pursuit of both soul's purpose of being a mom and having your coaching practice. I think that both can exist at the same time, or really frankly, like any creative endeavor, any entrepreneurial endeavor that you wish. You might have to choose from time to time, meaning that you're one human with a limited amount of resources and time available to you, but you don't have to choose big picture and long term. It can absolutely be both. All right, that's a long enough introduction. Let's get into it. So let's say you find out you're pregnant right now, and then you're looking down the next 9 to 10 months thinking, like, what does this mean for my business? I'm just getting started. I have like 3 paid clients. How? Now the clock is started, and what do I do? First things first is just like celebrate that you are creating life, and be in the moment and enjoy the moment as much as humanly possible. And I know it can be helpful for your brain to kind of chew on some of the logistics here, so I'll give you some, but you'll find out that you are expecting, and then you are likely going to have a fire lit under your ass for the next 6 months of, I think that having a time pressure, in a sense, can be helpful to do scary things or to follow through faster or to move quicker. I find that clients that don't have kids can, not always, this is not a hard rule, but they tend to do less with their time than folks with children. And I don't think that one is necessarily incorrect, because they're both valid. But when you have kids and say your mom's watching them for like 2 hours, you have 2 hours. There's no like 2 hours later in the day. There's no 2 hours next week. We have the 2 hours right here, right now. So usually the follow through is more urgent. And that can really work in our favor, right? Of like, we have to get it done and I have to get it done right now because I don't have time later or energy later. It's all happening right now. So let's do it right now. But so for the first 6 months, you're probably going to do all the things. Big caveats here. First trimester, you're going to be tired. You might feel sick. You're going to, with this ability or this urgency to follow through, you're also going to be combating fatigue and nausea and all of the wonderful things the first trimester can bring. You genuinely don't feel like yourself. And that's because you're using part of your life force to create another human. It's nothing insignificant. You are literally creating hearts and lungs and brains and eyes and fingers and toes. Like, it's a very automatic and arduous process within your body. So be easy on yourself during this first trimester. Know that for most it ends, that it does have a timestamp on it. For me, I usually feel kind of like warmed over dog poo for 16 to 17 weeks. And I start to really feel like the second trimester energy around 20 to 21 weeks, which is where I'm at right now. I have experienced insomnia during first trimester and like all the things, and that feels really unfair when you're tired and you can't sleep. But second trimester is known as the honeymoon of pregnancy, and usually where a lot of our nurse coaches feel good, feel creative, and can like run at a pretty good pace here. So most people still work during the first trimester. I haven't met a nurse coach yet that's needed to completely step back, but if that's you, you are sick, you got something else going on, like, know that that could 100% happen. And then we enter second trimester where you start to feel better. You start to get your energy back. You start to check things off the list. You might take on a few new clients. And then we enter the third trimester, right? To where your focus starts to shift, and maybe not even by choice. I really think that your like primal instinctual brain begins to take over here, and you start feeling the urge to like nest and to slow down and to like really enjoy these moments. And third trimester, you hear women talk about this all the time, that you start to feel uncomfortable, baby's getting bigger. You might not be sleeping as much, but you might be. We'll hold out the vision that you're still sleeping in third trimester, but you got to pee all the time, and you're hungry all the time, and you're hormonal all the time, and all of these things to be said. You can 100% still work in your business. I have worked up to literally the day my first was born. I worked up till the week before my second was born. My first, I had a planned C-section, but she came a few days early. My water broke. And then my second, we had a planned C-section at 40 weeks. And then with the third, I'm also going to be having a planned C-section at like week 39 and some change towards the end of that week. So, best laid plans. We'll see like what actually ends up shaking out for me on this third round. But usually, like, you can. I just want to paint the picture that you 100% can work till the end of pregnancy. But I noticed that people start to fade around like week 32, 33. Their focus just shifts elsewhere. And again, I don't think that this is like intentional. I don't even think that this is resistance. Honestly, I really think that this is primal. It is instinctual. You want to get ready for baby. We need to like be meal prepping and, just getting ready for this major transition that is on the horizon. And if you're like me, you can 100% still pull it off. You can do both. You can work and you can do those things too. However, I think with my first, I wasn't working. I wasn't productively working until week 38. I was stressed out working until week 38. So have a coach, have them help you tangle or detangle the journey here. But I have had clients that are pregnant take, 3, 4, 5, 6 clients. And usually how you plan for clients is like, all right, I'm 8 weeks pregnant right now. I can do 5-month containers, or I can do 4-month containers. And the container just gets shorter and shorter the closer and closer you get to your due date, to where you might be even doing 6 weeks or 4 weeks. And we can get creative. We can run groups. Like, we can really, like, no rules here. We get to just meet you where you're at. Even so, I've had clients back end offer for post maternity leave. So they wrap up with a client and they're like, hey, I'm taking, 3 months off. Do you want to start in January? Do you want to start in April? And they sign contracts for in the future, which worked out very particularly well for one of our clients, to where I think she signed thousands of dollars in contracts for when she got back. If that doesn't work out, team, if that's not your journey, that wasn't mine, it's going to be okay. I promise it's going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. And this is where I want to like take a moment to talk about the stress. And I see people at like week 24 start to panic of like, I'm running out of time. What do I need to do? How many clients can I sign? And there's never really a time to freak out like that. However, it just is amplified because of hormones and the time crunch and all the things. And what I want to offer here is a check-in point of like, do you actually need the money? I was having a conversation with a newly pregnant client of ours this week, and she was like, I just really want to set us up for success. I just really want to do my part. And I feel these like on a deep and visceral level. And I asked her, like, do you have to? Like, worst comes to worst, are you guys going to be okay if you don't make a single penny? And the answer was yes. And I was like, I understand that that's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable for our ego. We don't like it. We want to be successful, like all those things. I totally understand. I fall in that bucket too. But like, are you going to be okay if you don't make anything? And if the answer is yes, then this is your business supporting you, right? This is your passion, your purpose, your intention supporting you in real time. And it looks different than you would prefer. Of course, we would prefer to have $100,000 in the bank and not have to think twice, and it would be totally fine. And circumstances are different, but the outcome is still the same, right? Where you get to take time off, you get to be with your baby, you get to learn how to be a mom, and you get to take things at your own pace. So I want to encourage you here. My coach, when I was pregnant with my first, asked me, I was spinning up about not signing 2 clients. I was like in the middle of my first streak of no's. And she was like, Shelby, are you going to be homeless? And I was like, no. And she goes, are you going to have to stand naked on the street corner with your baby in the middle of winter to beg for food? And I was like, no. And she goes, okay, then chill out. Chill out. And that's abrupt, but I needed it in that moment because we make up these rules, standards, benchmarks, all the things. And even if you had $100,000 in the bank, I can guarantee that you would still be worried about how to recreate it at that time. Like our brain is just going to find a problem to solve. Also, as entrepreneurs, we are problem solvers. So if there's not even a problem, we're going to create one. Keep that in mind. Seems to be worse during pregnancy as well. So just know, sometime in the second trimester, you might have a predictable freak out moment and check in of like, is this really a thing? Or is this really not? And if it really is team, I want to like be very present with that, then we need to come up with a different plan. If you're not going to be okay financially, we need to rally in some support. We need to talk to the husband about getting a weekend job. Like if we are in a different situation, that is a different conversation. But 99% of the people that I'm talking to and that I work with are going to be okay. They're going to be all right. It might be a tight squeeze. It's going to look different than you thought, but you are going to be a-okay. So we start to fade out around 20 or 32 weeks. You might just be focusing on like client delivery and finishing up your coaching containers, maybe making any back-end offers for those last 6 weeks. But I would really encourage you that like by 36, 37, we have like really tapped and pumped the brakes, that you are resting a lot, that you are preparing for baby, whatever that means. Your focus is not on like what's the next best marketing strategy. It's like what type of birth support, and hopefully you're thinking about this well before now, but like, do I need a nighttime nanny? Do I need a doula? Like have I all of these things? You need a doula well before 37 weeks, but like I'm sure if you decide you want one at 37 weeks, the universe will provide for you. But anything like that, do you need to go to the store? Do we need baby clothes? Do we need diapers, wipes, whatever weird thing Instagram is selling you? Do we need any of that stuff? Be preparing mentally and emotionally, but also spiritually for baby to come. And I often cry with clients whenever I talk about this part because I just imagine them in the new baby bubble where like everything is, at least for me, everything is kind of like in a haze and almost none of it feels real, but it's also real. I know that mothers I talk to experience this of just like the insane high and the insane low and the insane and literal stretch that you go through to bring baby earthside. We need time for that. We need space for that. So talk to your mom friends, ask them questions like, what do you wish somebody would have told you before you gave birth to your first? Talk to your mom. Yeah, if you have safe spaces to go and have those types of conversations, I encourage you. I encourage you to do so. And also have somebody bring you food the day you come home from the hospital. Just trust me, have it taken care of. The last thing you're going to want to do is make sourdough bread the day you come home from the hospital. Have your sister make it for you, have your mom make it for you, someone make you a pot roast, something. waiting for you when you get home on that first day. All right, so now baby's here. Hooray. You're learning. If you're listening to this and you have a newborn, you're probably like, Shelby, not hooray. I am deep in the weeds, up to my eyeballs, haven't showered in 4 days. And yeah, like really, truly the first 8-12 weeks, we are in it. And it's beautiful and wonderful and hard and challenging, and it's everything all at once, truly. And this is not the time to, like, again, give a flying F about a marketing strategy or how to get back into it or whatever. Like, whatever you need during this time, you cannot rush it. You cannot force it. Your priority is yourself and your baby, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Business will be here when you are ready to pick it back up. And one extra thing I will say about this time, usually creative energy or creative thoughts are kind of paradoxically running really high in this particular season. And I don't know if it's because you're like so close to the veil, like it's a really divine time. There's a bubble. I experience like being in a bubble where the veil feels really thin and creative ideas just flow kind of like a waterfall, and it can feel overwhelming to know if they're any good, know if they're for you, know if it's for right now or for later. And what I tell folks is like, just take notes, pull out your phone. I know you're scrolling on Instagram as you're breastfeeding your baby anyway. Take notes, take voice notes, get them out of your brain and onto paper so you don't have to hold on to them. And if they're any good, we'll have something to reference to come back to. I often would have surges of creative energy and be like, oh my God, I don't even care that I'm exhausted right now. I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to do that thing right now. I have the energy to do it. I'm going to do it. And then by the time I would like feed the baby, burp the baby, change the baby, go pee, the energy was gone. Like it was kind of like being in a hot pan, just like a quick flash. And so we can assign a lot of judgment to that. We can assign a lot of meaning to that. For me, it just means that, universe, spirit, God is like just really close, whispering in my ear. And I take notes on my phone. And maybe there's one or two good ones in there, and the rest just get to live on my phone for if and when I ever need them. All right. Now you're creeping up on 16 weeks. We're doing the thing. On 4 months, we're kind of getting a routine. We're kind of getting a structure to our day. We're kind of getting our feet under us, hopefully. We're still tired. We're still like figuring it out for sure, but we are coming up for air around the 16-week mark. And it's this like delicate balance of like, you might not feel ready, but you are ready. And if it's 16 weeks or 18 weeks or 20 weeks team or 30 or 40, like genuinely, you can't mess up your timing here. We can't rush it. We can't hack this time. There's no hacks. You just, whenever it's time to decide, you're going to know. And jumping back in to business, to life, we're going to have to figure out things like childcare, and we're going to have to figure out like how many clients you can take. And this is why I kind of like when our clients have zero, so that we can be really diligent of like, if you only can take clients on the weekend when hubby is home and can watch the baby and the baby takes a bottle, like all these factors, right? Then we can start slow and we can be very intentional. We can get to 2 clients and be like, yeah, I'm maxed. That's all I got. And then again, this is your business supporting you, right? This is meeting that urge to coach and to help people and to serve people while also helping and encourage and supporting yourself. They fuel one another here, which is so beautiful. You just have to keep your shoulds and your ego in check, because there is this potential to want to just like jump back into the deep end and do what you were doing before and have 7 or 8 clients. And that might not be the reality that we get to play in. For me, my past maternity leave, I got to jump in and finish up with some clients that I was working with. So it was familiar faces. We weren't starting from ground zero. I also prefer that too. And so then, at the 4-month mark, I got to wrap up with old clients. And then at like the 6-month mark, I got to take on new clients, which worked out super well. Now we have a team that's going to step in for me, and because I have just like a couple of containers that are almost done by the time I have my baby. And they'll be like done in, January and March. And so our team is going to step in and host a few calls just so that their train keeps moving. And also too, if you're like, I wish I had a team, ask a friend. Ask a friend to step in for you while you are on maternity leave, or if something goes awry and you need more time, have a friend step in and do you a favor. We are solo entrepreneurs, most of us out here, but like create a tribe and lean in, ask for help. This can be super mentally relieving to do that. And really that whole first year team is about finding your new identity, finding your new footing, finding your new flow. You're basically an entirely different person, taking care of a tiny new person. And we get to figure some details out. And I was joking with my pregnant client this week. I was like, you'll probably go through this phase of where you want to switch your niche to taking care of moms. Every client I've ever coached ever kind of goes through that phase of like, women are so undersupported and I want to help moms and this is so hard and all the things. I did too. Same. I do that every time to where my heart just bleeds for mothers, especially during that postpartum time. And luckily in my role now, I get to support and coach moms of across the whole spectrum. Grown kids, teenagers, newborns. I get to incorporate that here in my role at the Successful Nurse Coaches. But that's also pretty predictable as well. And to kind of like wrap her up here. So that's through the fourth trimester, through kind of the first year-ish. I think the biggest takeaways I've learned after doing this 3 times is your brain is shifting, so therefore you're playing by new rules. Your hormones are in the driver's seat. And just, I never want to quit my business more than when I'm pregnant, to be honest. It's my emotions are just amplified. I cried over a spreadsheet last week, like really, really hard. Cried over a spreadsheet last week that I couldn't figure out. And it felt like the whole sky was falling. I usually don't feel that way. Like spreadsheets usually aren't my homies, like when I'm not pregnant, but it's not anything as dramatic as wanting to quit. And I just know of like, all right, these feelings are present and they're real and they're big in my body and in my system, but they're not going to be what I use to make my decisions right now. No big life decisions are made while I am pregnant. Yeah, just we kind of like stay the course. We stay with what's working. We show up for the business. We are consistent. My work structure is actually a little different to where I wake up earlier when I'm pregnant. So I start my workday earlier. I end it a little earlier in the afternoon. And then I usually finish up at night. Like my brain with emails and checklists and things like that actually works better after my kids go to sleep for whatever reason. So I just flow with it instead of trying to like fit the round peg into the square hole, or the square peg into the round hole, however the saying goes. There's a lot of learning that will happen for you during the season. Like I said, you are evolving into the next form of yourself. It is nothing short of insignificant, a true metamorphosis inside and out. And it is such a beautiful journey to be on if we can show up for what it is instead of what we wish it was. There's so much space to enjoy it and to just be in the beauty and the magic of it all instead of being like, I wish I would have signed 3 clients this month. Like you are creating an entire human with your body, an entire organ, aka your placenta, with your body. Like, let's be in the marvel of that and how wonderful it is that you don't have to go to a 12-hour shift while you're laying on the couch listening to this podcast right now because you feel sick and you're, 11 weeks pregnant or wherever you're at right now. There's so much to be grateful for, even if it looks different. And I'm just really excited for you. I think that entrepreneurship and motherhood, again, can fuel each other so beautifully if we simply let it. And again, I don't say that so that you can do more, be more, achieve more. It's more of like, can we just really appreciate that all of the things to be grateful for of I don't have to be on my feet for 12 hours. I don't have to take FMLA to be at home with my kids. Sure, I wish I was an overnight millionaire or I won the lottery, but I'm also financially secure enough to like put food on my table and have a roof over my head. So much potential to be in the present moment and practice that gratitude. And I promise if you can lean into that space versus being mad at like, I wish I was farther along. I wish this was different. It is hard, but I wish that my business was farther along before this happened. All that stuff, y'all, kind of doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's not true. So being in the moment, being with what is true, with what is the point. It is the point. All right, team, sending you lots of love. If you are on the pregnancy journey alongside with me, sending you an extra hug today, and we will see you same time, same place next week.